Hello there. Welcome once again to a place where history drifts gently like fog over quiet hills. You're here to rest now, to lay back. Close your eyes if you'd like, and listen as the old stories softly unfold. Tonight, we'll wander through time, not to grand castles or roaring battles, but into the quieter corners of life. The forgotten customs, the small habits, the ordinary ways people tried to keep clean in a very different world. This is a tale of medieval hygiene. Simple, slow, and perhaps a little strange. But nothing you need to remember. Nothing to solve. Just old facts and fading images, softly floating by as you drift off to sleep. In the medieval world, the idea of hygiene, well, it was a bit different than what we think of today. People in medieval Europe didn't have toothpaste or hand soap or hot showers, but that didn't mean they didn't care about cleanliness. They just understood it differently. You see, back then, cleanliness was as much a moral or spiritual idea as it was physical. Being clean often meant being pure in the soul, and physical dirt was sometimes seen as a sign of humility rather than something shameful. Many people believed that bad smells caused illness, so they tried to smell better. But without knowing about germs, they didn't quite connect soap and water to health the way we do now. Still, they tried in small, interesting ways. And that's what we'll be exploring tonight. So, did medieval people wash? Yes, but not always in the way we might expect. Full-body baths were rare, especially in winter. Running water didn't exist in most homes. To bathe, water had to be drawn from a well or river, carried in heavy wooden pails, and heated over a fire. A time-consuming task. So instead, many people washed their faces and hands regularly, using basins of water, a cloth, and sometimes herbs like lavender or rosemary to make it smell pleasant. Monks were particularly concerned with cleanliness. Many monasteries had rules about washing before meals and after using the latrines. Some even had small bathhouses where warm water could be poured over the body while seated on a wooden bench. But in most households, washing was done with a cloth, a little ash soap, and patience. In cities, bathhouses were more common. These public bathhouses, called stews in England, offered a hot soak and a place to relax. They weren't always associated with scandal, though some did get reputations for rowdiness. For many people, a bathhouse was simply a warm escape, a place where neighbors would gather, chat, and share the cost of firewood to heat the water. Some even included food, drinks, and music. In towns like Paris or London, bathhouses might be open daily. In smaller villages, they were a rare luxury, used only for special occasions or just before major holy days. People would undress, step into warm wooden tubs, and soak for a while. Soap, made from animal fat and ashes, was rubbed into the skin. Then, they'd rinse off with ladles of clean water. Not every town had one, but where they existed, they were well loved. Hair was important too. Most people didn't wash it every day, maybe not even every week. Instead, they combed it carefully to remove dirt and lice. Fine-toothed combs, often carved from bone or wood, were common tools. Women braided their hair or wore it up under veils. Men often kept it short or tied back. And everyone, regardless of class, dealt with the occasional flea or nit. Hands were washed more often, especially before eating. A servant might bring a basin of water and a towel to the table. It wasn't just about hygiene. It was part of the meal's ritual. As for teeth, well, toothbrushes didn't exist yet, but people did use twigs to clean their teeth, chewing one end to fray it into bristles. Some used cloth or rinsed with wine or vinegar to freshen their breath. And mint leaves were popular, even back then. Medieval life was earthy. Streets were dusty in summer, muddy in winter. Homes were warmed with smoky fires. Animals wandered freely through towns. So people got dirty, often. But they had their ways of managing. They swept their floors with bundles of straw. They aired out bedding by hanging it outside. And they burned fragrant herbs, like juniper, sage, or bay leaves, to improve the scent of a room. Clothing was rarely washed, at least not the way we might expect. Woolen outer garments were brushed, not soaked. Linen underclothes, though, were washed more regularly, often in rivers or large tubs. Soap was precious, handmade. People used lye soap to scrub their clothes, then dried them in the sun. It was hard work, but it kept things somewhat fresh. And then there's the matter of toilets. Most medieval homes didn't have them. In towns, people might use a chamber pot, an earthenware bowl kept under the bed at night. In the morning, its contents were sometimes dumped into the street. Though cities often had laws against this, larger homes and castles might have a garderobe, a small stone room built into the wall. It was essentially a vertical shaft where waste fell into a pit or the moat below. Often, herbs were hung inside to mask the smell. In monasteries, latrines were more carefully designed. Some even had flowing water to carry waste away, a surprisingly advanced system for the time.
Public latrines existed in some cities, but they were rare and not always pleasant.
And toilet paper? Well, that didn't exist. People used moss, leaves, straw, or simply rinsed with water, if it was available. Doctors in the medieval period didn't fully understand germs, but they believed in balancing the four humors of the body: blood, phlegm, black bile, and yellow bile. Bad smells, or miasmas, were thought to bring disease, so people carried scented pouches called pomanders, or held flowers to their noses in crowded places. Some wealthier folks bathed more often. And barber surgeons would offer bloodletting, cupping, or tooth pulling, strange but common treatments. Leeching was a popular practice. So was bathing in mineral springs, believed to purify the body and soul. In times of plague, homes were fumigated with vinegar, smoke, or aromatic herbs. Doctors wore long-beaked masks, filled with herbs to ward off sickness. They didn't always get it right, but they were trying, in their own medieval way. And so we leave the medieval world behind, not with great battles or noble kings, but with a simple basin of water, a cloth, a comb, and the slow, quiet care of daily life. Hygiene in the Middle Ages was imperfect, but people did what they could. They bathed when they could. They swept, they rinsed, they freshened their air with herbs and incense, and they found their own rhythms of cleanliness, guided by tradition, by religion, and by the soft logic of lived experience. We may smile at it now, but centuries from today, perhaps others will smile at us. So as the night stretches on, let your thoughts drift like lavender smoke, floating through old stone rooms and candlelit halls, where nothing is urgent, nothing is loud, and everything is gently falling into sleep. Good night, and sweet dreams.